How do you send emails that Google actually like and won't put the spam? Well, on this episode, we're going to tap into the brains of a marketing expert. And hopefully, the insights on his email expertise can help you in your cold outreach and also help your organization as you send emails to your prospects to make sure that you don't go to spam. You're going to love it. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we have a phenomenal guest. His name is Tom Kulzer. Tom is the CEO and founder of Aweber, which, if you haven't heard of it, is an awesome emailing platform. Now, Tom has years of expertise when it comes towards sending emails. Emails are effective. I remember when I first heard about Aweber was back in like 2012, 2013. I was going to a conference called New Media Expo and thought this thing was like this whole world of online marketing, online sales was like a whole foreign thing, and thought it was awesome, and I still do. And I got the opportunity to learn about Aweber and some of the things they were doing back then. And anyways, it's just phenomenal. On this episode, though, it's kind of cool to be able to interview him and to have him share some of his expertise. Now, again, this is going to give some marketing ideas. Now, these are going to be helpful to you as a seller because the emails you send can also take some knowledge and some attributes from some of the expertise that he's sharing here. And you can take this email and share it with your team as well because it's going to be helpful for them. If this is your first time watching one of our videos or listening to our podcast, I would ask you to subscribe. Share this episode with somebody else. Take advantage of the offers from our sponsor because they're going to give some amazing benefits to you. Let's go ahead and dive in, get a chance to meet this amazing whiz when it comes towards emailing. Tom, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Donald.
I'm looking forward to this and to get your insights because hey, listen, as a practitioner, I love sending my emails, and I think there are many different ways that we can structure those emails and strategies that we should be aware of, and some of the technical know-hows that can help us to make sure emails are going to the right people. Before we dive into that, I bragged about you a little bit there, and I talked about how I was first introduced to the idea of Aweber and that name around. But tell us a little bit more about you and what you do, man.
Yeah, so I started Aweber 24 years ago. So, you know, it was really kind of a little bit of a fluke that I kind of stumbled into it originally. So I was automating a sales follow-up process back before software existed to do this. Mm-hmm. And I was selling wireless modems, and I had written some script to automatically send a series of messages to people that had inquired or that I met at a computer show or wherever else I was going out and promoting the product. And one thing led to another. I ended up sharing it with a whole bunch of other people that were also selling the same product in different parts of the country, so that I could get copywriting tips back from them on what was working and what wasn't. And I ended up leaving that company selling that product to focus on college because I was in college at the time. And as a byproduct of that, I stopped running this script. And all these people started coming to me that were using it before saying, hey, I'll pay you for that thing that I was getting for free before. Like, would you be interested in that? And I was like, well, it was something I really just set up for this, and it wasn't really a business. And like I had a handful of people come and tell me this, and I was like, maybe this would be a good way to make some money while I'm still in school. Yeah. So it was kind of the first versions of Aweber. So it was originally automated web assistant. That's a really long domain name, so we tried to shorten it a little bit. And, it's kind of automated Aweb ass. No, wrong company. So it kind of got changed to Aweber. And, the rest is history. So it's been a fun ride.
It's been, you've been definitely built a sense of a piece of the market share. You've done some amazing things, and it's phenomenal to learn and to watch and to see the growth that Aweber has been able to gain over the years. And I'm just I'm excited and grateful for this opportunity to be able to pick your brain today. You can share some of those insights with us.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, a lot of our audience members, we talked about this. They're individual sellers and they're sales leaders, and we have some entrepreneurs here that are listening to this episode. But I think the problem that we find is that a lot of emails these days go to spam, and Google has made some changes. I would love to pick your brain on that a little bit. Why has spam been, it seemed like the spam filter has gotten bigger, or that spam trap has gotten bigger. Talk to us about that issue, or what you're seeing with that right now.
Yes, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily gotten bigger. I would say that it's gotten more accurate at determining what people want and what they don't want.
Fair enough.
So the at the end of the day, like, you have to look at, if your emails are going to the spam filter, it's because your emails are sending signals to mailbox providers like Google that the recipients of your emails don't want what you're sending them. So that becomes an opportunity to learn from that and iterate. So, the first couple of things that you want to start with is permission and making sure that you're sending emails that people want. And setting appropriate expectations. So one of the things that I often talk about is, when you go to a website and I sign up for your newsletter, I'm making an inference around how often you might want to send your newsletter, or how often I might want to receive your newsletter. And if you don't tell me on your webpage and I sign up thinking, oh, I'm going to get Donald's monthly newsletter, and you start sending me an email every single day, you might get a week or two out of me before I'm kind of annoyed at you and I start marking your emails as spam. Because although I may have said that I want your email once a month, I did not say I want it once a day. And simple expectation setting like that can mean a big difference between how someone receives your message and whether or not they mark it as spam. So, like, we have customers that are in the finance industry, and they talk about the stock market, and they send multiple emails a day. And if you're not expecting that, that's a lot of email.
Yeah.
But if I sign up and, hey, you're going to get a pre-morning, pre-open, newsletter about how we think the day is going to go. We're going to give you a midday update, and then we're going to give you an after the bell kind of update. That's 3 emails a day, 5 days a week. That's a lot of emails. But if I'm expecting it, then that's something I want in my inbox, and I'm much more likely to engage with. So it's those kind of like early things that as a sender you can do to make sure that people are in the right frame of mind around what it is that you're sending. Similarly, in your welcome message that you send out to people, set the expectations in there. It's just like everything sales related. You have to set, people have to see it multiple times. So on my sign up page, set those expectations of what I'm going to send and how often I'm going to send it. On the welcome message, how often I'm going to send it, what I'm going to send. You can do the same sort of thing on your thank you page, like on that page after someone submits your form. So there's a bunch of different ways to go about setting those expectations up front. But Google at its kind of big picture view is determining whether or not your emails go to spam or not based on how your subscribers engage in those emails. So when I talk about engagement, this sounds like this like fuzzy topic, and it's like, I'm not putting a ring on Google's finger, but it's like, how am I opening the emails as a recipient? How are people clicking those emails as a recipient? And as an email sender, as an email marketer, those are really the only things that I can measure directly. Like, I can measure when I'm measuring an open, I'm measuring that somebody loaded an image that's in the email that implies that somebody actually read it. This doesn't always mean the case that somebody read it. There's security filters and other things that can affect those sort of things. There's email clients that pre-download images that it might look like it was open, but it actually wasn't opened by a real human. It's just a limitation of the technology. There's only so much data that we get back from that. And as an email sender, I can also tell whether or not you clicked on a link in the message, because we have the click tracking links, and you can track those. But there's other things that Google can see that you and I as a sender can't see. So think about what those could be. It's, how far down do I scroll in the email? How long do I spend reading that email? Do I forward that email to somebody else? Do I reply to that email? Do I put that email in a different folder than it came in? There's lots of different things that I can do on the Gmail side that engage with the email message that I, as the email sender, can't actually see, but Google can see, and absolutely is basing that in their kind of algorithms on whether or not to show your message in the future in the inbox or in the spam folder. One thing that we run into a lot is people talking about, oh, my emails go in the promotions folder. And it's like, well, what are you sending? Well, it's my, weekly coupon. Well, that sounds like a promotion, and that's exactly where that email should be. If you don't want to be in the promotions folder, don't send promotions. And at the same time, the promotions folder is not the spam folder. They're two very different folders. And if you are sending commercial promotion type emails and they go in the promotion folder, that can often be better than going to the inbox. You could actually get better engagement there than you might see in the inbox. We have many senders that see better engagement there because your frame of mind as a recipient is like, I'm going to look at, the brands that I subscribe to and promotions there. Like, I'm looking for what the latest daily deal is or whatever it happens to be that's there. So it's about meeting those consumers and those recipients kind of in their state of mind and what's most relevant to them. And if that's the most relevant thing as a part of your brand, it's not a bad thing to be in the promotions folder. So there's a bunch of different things, and there's a whole bunch of layers underneath that we can get into.
Oh yeah, I mean, so many. And I think one area so far, one surface level area we can jump into is just that, like, what's the framework of an email to get people? Because you said there's several different actions there. So it sounds like before I send an email, I need to determine that action. I need to obviously set the rules before we play the game. You're getting this daily or monthly or whatnot. I'm going to send out a tip. Or if it's maybe even if it's just like a one-time cold outreach. But what is that email structure need to look like, or some of the best practices you've seen to make an email structure well? I don't know if that question makes sense, sir.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things, both from a like copy perspective, and then there's some technical best practices around what you can do to send good emails. As a brand, I always recommend sending from your own domain name. Like, I can't tell you how many small businesses we work with that come in and like by default want to send from their Gmail address or their Yahoo address or their Hotmail address or whatever it happens to be. And it's like, while that's easy and really convenient, it's not putting your best brand forward. And it also, it hurts your ability to establish a reputation as an email sender. So like when I send my emails and they come from aweber.com, like that's building my reputation as an email sender for aweber.com, not for gmail.com. So there's that, start with a from address that best represents your company and your brand so that you can build reputation with that. You have to kind of make the determination as to whether or not you're sending from Aweber as like a display name, or if you're sending like Tom Kulzer as a display name. Like, I often, my emails often say Tom Kulzer -Aweber, because I just kind of associate the two. When I'm personally sending an email, that's one thing. But like as a brand, when we send out our like blog newsletter for our blog updates, that email comes from Aweber. It doesn't come from a specific person. There's a lot of folks that try to play cute games with subject lines. We've all seen the FWD colon or the RE colon kind of things. And it's like, oh, did I reply to that? And like as an email recipient, and you as well as an email recipient, and everybody that's listening to this, like, do people that send those emails think we're freaking idiots?
I know, right?
We know that's, yeah, it's a trick. And yeah, you might get me to open this email. And yes, it might technically show up as a higher open rate if you split test it. But I take that as a personal affront that you think I'm an idiot and I'm going to be tricked by that, and that's going to get my long-term engagement with your brand or you as a person. Like, to me as an email marketer, like that I tell people that's like giving your subscribers the middle finger. Like it's just impolite and it's insensitive and you're just treating people like idiots. And that's not how anyone wants to be treated. So like, yes, you might read studies that performs better, but don't do it because you're just a jerk.
And I feel like it just gives that mistrust right out the gate. Like if we're in this to build trust and then all of a sudden you're doing some shady stuff like that, it's like, yeah, I'm not sure if the insights, the value you're trying to add as an organization, it puts you in a bad light, in my view. It doesn't make me, I see it like a spamming organization. So it doesn't give me that warm and fuzzies that I want to move forward with you. I mean, obviously if you're responding to a thread, that's different as opposed to just, let me just put a re on it or, FWD just to get the attention. I'm like, nah, bro, that's not cool.
Exactly. So, some of our highest open rate emails, like when you look at word, often folks will ask me like, what's the highest performing words that are in email subject lines? And very often they're day of the weeks. So like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or November, December, whatever, because people put like issue numbers on their newsletters that they send out. And it's because recipients are expecting those because they come at regular intervals that they expect, it's my Monday update and it's like Monday update, Roman numeral, whatever, number it happens to be. And like, those are the words that we see that have the highest open rates because people are expecting them, want them, and are actively clicking them because they're excited to get those in their inboxes. So it's, it's that trust that is built up with your subscribers over time that really gets you the best open rates. And there's really no shortcuts to building trust. And if anything, like the shortcuts that you're going to get to try to trick higher open rates are actually lowering your trust over time, and just hurting you, from that point. So another good thing to look at when you're looking at like the foundational structural things with messages is, make sure your email has a purpose. I can't tell you how many emails you get that it's like, okay, well, that's nice, but like, what do you want me to do with that? Is it just an informational thing? Like, okay, maybe, but then, I'll get our click rate on this was really terrible. And it's like, well, yeah, there was no reason for anyone to click on it. Like, what'd you expect them to click? Like, there wasn't anything for them to do. There wasn't something more for them to read or follow up on or whatever. Like, okay, that was nice. Click, save, delete, whatever. So have a reason for sending your message. Another thing that I like to give from an advice perspective is think like you're writing an email to your mom or your grandma or your dad or your sister or whoever it happens to be. I think when a lot of marketers kind of put their like email hat on and they go to write their messages to folks, they write them to 1,000 people or to 10,000 people. And it's like, it's me with my phone reading my message wherever I happen to be at the time, or maybe I'm sitting at a desk and I read your message, but like, it's just me. Just write to me. You're not writing to 1,000 people. You're not in you're not in a stadium with a megaphone, speaking to a giant, group of people. Like, yes, you are speaking to a lot of people at one time, but there's only one person that's reading it. There's only one person that's potentially going to reply or forward it to somebody else. So speak at that level. And I think your messages will come off differently than if you're just trying to write to this amorphous, like, weird blob of people on the other end of the the email line.
And I think that's where it comes back to that great segmentations, right? Where you're giving people exactly what they want, and then obviously you can speak to the content that they need in particular, right?
Absolutely. So like, one of the reasons that they call it marketing automation these days and not just like, I'm just doing email marketing. It's like there's some automation implied with that. So I often give the example of a pet adoption shelter. And, you might sign up to get, emails from them about what animals they have that they've come in that you might be able to adopt. Everybody likes these.
Yeah.
And, the pet adoption, like they get cats, they get dogs, and they get other animals, I'm sure. But like, let's call it cats and dogs. But like when I sign up for the newsletter, I want all the cats. And when you sign up to the newsletter, you want all the dogs.
Yep.
And with marketing automation, what you can do is I can learn with time that like you only click on the dog links to go and check out the dogs on their website. And I only click on the cat links to go and learn about the cats on the website. So over time, I can apply a dog tag to your record and a cat tag to my record. And when I send out my emails, I can basically do what's called conditional content, where if I have a tag cat, I'll display and see the cat content from that message. And if you have the dog tag on your record, you'll only see the dogs in your messages. And that way they're showing the most relevant content. Dogs are always at the top of your emails, and hey, magically cats are always at the top of my emails. And so like you can segment and send content. Even if you're sending to your entire audience, I can still dynamically create the message so the emails look different depending on who it's going to, based on your subscriber preferences that that we've learned from you over time. So there's a lot of ways to kind of go, drive into that. Another angle on like list segmentation kind of flips back to that original Gmail conversation that we're having, where, the decision on whether or not your messages go to spam or the inbox is, if I have 100 readers and, I'm getting 50% open rates, that's pretty awesome. But over time, if my audience gets less and less interested in my messages, that might drop to 40 or 30 or 20 or 10. And now think about that from like Google's perspective. When they send emails, you send 100 email messages and only 10 people engage with them, but another 90 don't engage with them or delete them right away, or don't realize that they're in the spam folder and don't drag them back out of the spam folder. So like over time, what I'm going to do, because your list isn't that engaged and that audience is at large telling me they're not that into what you're sending, I'm going to take one of the 10 that still did get your emails and I'm going to put it in the spam folder. And if they notice and drag it back out, okay, we'll keep going to their inbox for them. But if they don't, well, I'm going to take one more, and then one more, and then one more, until eventually everything's going to the spam folder, and it's not. So that's one of the reasons that we talk actively about pruning your lists of unengaged subscribers. And, in your head, you might go, well, they signed up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but people's needs change over time. Like, you might have adopted the dog from a different animal shelter, and thus those emails are no longer relevant to you, but you never unsubscribed. You just, that their emails go to the spam folder and you don't really care anymore because you've stopped engaging with them and Google's figured that out. But the problem is because that animal shelter leaves you on their list and they keep sending to you, just the fact that you're there and no longer engaging is telling them how to filter emails from me, who still hasn't adopted my cat yet and still wants to get the emails. So it's one of those things. And I always, when people look at me and they're like a little suspicious of like why I would tell them to delete folks, like at the end of the day, almost all email marketing platforms charge based on the number of subscribers that you have on your list. So it's actively against our revenue interest to tell you to delete people. I want your list to be as big as humanly possible in order for you to pay us the most money. So when I give advice saying delete people, like it reduces our revenue, but it's that long tail aspect, or big picture, long term aspect of it's in our best interest to look after the email ecosystem and keep it viable for all senders to be able to send and to send good emails that people do want. It makes it continue to be a viable marketing, opportunity for folks.
Oh man, you're so right. Listen, Tom, we could go on for days because you've given me so much to lead with, and I think you've given our listener enough that they can leave with as well and apply. If there's one major piece of advice you want us to leave with from this episode, what's that one major piece?
Goodness, only one. I'd say start with permission at the end of the day. Make sure that you have permission from people to send the emails that you're sending. So if you're sending unsolicited email, it belongs in the spam folder.
Start with the permission. Well, I love this, man. And if folks want to check you, get a chance to connect with you and get a chance to learn more about Aweber, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
You can get us right at our website at aweber.com. We actually have a completely free offering, no credit cards or anything. You can sign up and have up to 500 subscribers in a free account, including our excellent customer service. So, yeah, give us a call.
Not a bad gig. Listen, man, Tom, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Donald.
Hey, if you haven't checked out and connected with Tom and Aweber yet, please go down in the show notes, connect with them, tell him that you heard about him here on the Sales Evangelist podcast. And I hope that you got an insight that can help you in your own emailing efforts as well as your company, because, I mean, nobody wants their email to go to spam. And one of the things that I took away that's going to help me is making sure I get people to, give permission of, can I email them? I know sometimes we might find people that say, that we're a good prospect and may not necessarily be a good fit right now, and we want to send them email content. Yeah, get their permission. Give them, let them know, understand expectation of what they should be getting. And also ensuring that your email is not going to spam by keeping it focused on the things that's relevant to them. Subject lines are critical again, and having the right links there. Anyways, hope this was beneficial to you. It's definitely for me. Go ahead and check out Aweber. Take advantage of the benefit that they have and see if that can help your team. Also, take advantage of the sponsors who are sponsoring this episode and the awesome gifts that they're giving you. We've worked with them and negotiated it so you can get some stuff. And I want you to succeed and thrive. So take advantage of it. As always, I want you to find more of your ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to be able to close more deals. But most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking and go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching.